Welcome to our history, our education on the history of the Israelites, the sons of Jacob, on into Egypt, on into Moses. Very, very authentic history book referred to in the 77 books of the King James. We're now in chapter 55. The Israelites settle in Egypt. In verse 1 it says, "And it came to pass after this, that Jacob said, I will go and see my son in Egypt, and will then come back to the land of Canaan, of which God had spoken unto Abraham, for I cannot leave the land of my birthplace. Behold, into the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Go down to Egypt with all thy household, and remain there. Fear not to go down to Egypt, for I will there make thee a great nation." In 3, and Jacob said within himself, I will go and see my son, whether the fear of his God is yet in his heart amidst all the inhabitants of Egypt. Now, see, his fear is that he's being surrounded by this paganism, and he's well aware of the mystery school of Egypt. Has that affected my son or not, is the question. In 4, and the Lord said unto Jacob, Fear not about Joseph, for he still retaineth his integrity to serve me, as will seem good in thy sight. And Jacob rejoiced exceedingly concerning his son. 5. At that time Jacob commanded his sons and household to go to Egypt according to the word of the Lord unto him. And Jacob rose up with his sons and all his household, and he went out from the land of Canaan, from Beersheba, with joy and gladness of heart, and they went to the land of Egypt. And it came to pass, when they came near Egypt, Jacob sent Judah before him to Joseph, that he might show him a situation in Egypt. And Judah did according to the word of his father. And he hastened and ran and came to Joseph, and they assigned for them a place in the land of Goshen for all his household. And Judah returned and came along the road to his father. In 7, and Joseph harnessed the chariot, and he assembled all his mighty men and his servants and all the officers of Egypt, in order to go and meet his father Jacob. And Joseph's mandate was proclaimed in Egypt, saying, All that do not go to meet Jacob shall die. In 8 it says, And on the next day Joseph went forth with all Egypt, a great and mighty host, all dressed in garments of fine linen and purple, and with instruments of silver and gold, and with their instruments of war with them. And they all went to meet Jacob with all sorts of musical instruments, with drums and timbrels, strewing myrrh and aloes along the road. And they all went after this fashion, and the earth shook at their shouting. In 10, and all the women of Egypt went upon the roofs of Egypt, and upon the walls to meet Jacob, And upon the head of Joseph was Pharaoh's regal crown, for Pharaoh had sent it unto him to put on at the time of his going to meet his father. 11. And when Joseph came within 50 cubits of his father, he alighted from the chariot, and he walked toward his father. And when all the officers of Egypt and her nobles saw that Joseph had gone on foot toward his father, they also alighted and walked on foot toward Jacob. 12. And when Jacob approached the camp of Joseph, Jacob observed the camp that was coming toward him with Joseph, and it gratified him. And Jacob was astonished at it. And Jacob said unto Judah, Who is that man whom I see in the camp of Egypt, dressed in kingly robes, with a very great garment upon him, and a royal crown upon his head, who has alighted from his chariot, and is coming toward us? ? And Judah answered his father, saying, He is thy son Joseph, the king. And Jacob rejoiced in seeing the glory of his son. 14. And Joseph came nigh unto his father, and he bowed down to his father, and all the men of the camp bowed to the ground with him before Jacob. And behold, Jacob ran and hastened to his son Joseph, and fell upon his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And Joseph also embraced his father and kissed him, and they wept, and all the people of Egypt wept with them. 16. And Jacob said unto Joseph, Now I will die cheerfully, after I have seen thy face, that thou art still living with glory. And 17. And the sons of Jacob and their wives and their children and their servants and all the household of Jacob wept exceedingly with Joseph, and they kissed him and wept greatly with him. And Joseph and all his people returned afterward home to Egypt, and Jacob and his sons and all the children of his household came with Joseph to Egypt, and Joseph placed them in the best part of Egypt in the land of Goshen. And Joseph said unto his father and unto his brethren, I will go up and tell Pharaoh, saying, My brethren and my father's household and all belonging to them have come unto me, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And Joseph did so, and took from his brethren Reuben, Issachar, Zebulun, and his brother Benjamin, and he placed them before Pharaoh. Notice there's 5 of those when I teach that. 5 is a unholy number to us, but it's holy in Egypt. It has to do with their mythology. It's the divine added days in their calendar. Oh, okay, I'll stay focused. It's also the 5 black keys on the keyboard. 5. Isn't that it? 1, 2, 3. 1? Yeah, 5. Yeah, we usually say that when we go through this part. 21. And Joseph spoke unto Pharaoh, saying, My brethren and my father's household, and all belonging to them, together with their flocks and cattle, have come unto me from the land of Canaan to sojourn in Egypt, where the famine was sore upon them. 22. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Place thy father and brethren in the best part of the land, withhold not from them all that is good, and cause them to eat of the fat of the land. And Joseph answered, saying, Behold, I have stationed them in the land of Goshen, for they are shepherds. Therefore let them remain in Goshen to feed their flocks apart from the Egyptians. You see how the cultures war against each other. For us, a shepherd is a good thing. It's a stench to the Egyptians, you see, because of their mythology that they have, their connection to the fallen angels. Never lose sight of that, folks. 24. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Do with thy brethren all that they shall say unto thee. And the sons of Jacob bowed down to Pharaoh. And they went forth from his peace. And Joseph afterward brought his father before Pharaoh. And Jacob came and bowed down to Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And he then went out, and Jacob and all his sons and all his household dwelt in the land of Goshen. Jacob settles in Goshen in 26. In the second year, that is in the 130th year of the life of Jacob, Joseph maintained his father and brethren and all his father's household with bread according to their little ones all the days of the famine. They lacked nothing. And Joseph gave unto them the best part of the whole land. The best part of Egypt had they all the days of Joseph. And Joseph also gave unto them and unto the whole of his father's household clothes and garments year by year. And the sons of Jacob remained securely in Egypt all the days of their brother. And Jacob always ate at Joseph's table. Jacob and his sons did not leave Joseph's table day or night, besides what Jacob's children consumed in their houses. Okay. 29. And all Egypt ate bread during the days of the famine from the house of Joseph. For all the Egyptians sold all belonging to them on account of the famine. Yeah, and that's what the storable food people, they always remind us of food and how it controls people. And they're definitely attempting to do that to us today, but not for a good reason. Okay, that's another subject for another day. 30. And Joseph purchased all the lands and fields of Egypt for bread on account of Pharaoh. And Joseph supplied all Egypt with bread all the days of the famine. And Joseph collected all the silver and gold that came unto him for the corn which they bought throughout the land. And he accumulated much gold and silver, besides an immense quantity of onyx stones, bdellium, and valuable garments, which they brought unto Joseph from every part of the land when their money was spent. 31. And Joseph took all the silver and gold that came into his hand, about 72 talents of gold and silver, and also onyx stones and bdellium in great abundance. And Joseph went on and concealed them in 4 parts. And he concealed one part in the wilderness near the Red Sea. How about that? And one part by the river Perath, and a third and a fourth part he concealed in the desert opposite to the wilderness of Persia and Media. How about that? There's a lot of things running through my mind right there. Yeah, 72 is a Septuagint, it's called. It's sacred. What our Old Testament is named. It's 7, 70, 72, or 77, a Septuagint. And they're going to be going to the Red Sea, and they're going to be going to Persia and Media also in the future. I'm talking about the children of Israel, the great nation of them. Anyway, 32, and he took part of the gold and silver that was left and gave it unto all his brothers and unto all his father's household and unto all the women of his father's household. And the rest he brought to the house of Pharaoh, about 20 talents of gold and silver. And Joseph gave all the gold and silver that was left unto Pharaoh, and Pharaoh placed it in the treasury, and the days of the famine ceased after that in the land. And they sowed and reaped in the whole land, and they obtained their usual quantity year by year, and they lacked nothing. Or they lacked nothing. 34, and Joseph dwelt securely in Egypt, and the whole land was under his advice. And his father and his brethren dwelt in the land of Goshen and took possession of it. And Joseph was very aged, advanced in days, and his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, remained constantly in the house of Jacob, together with the children of the sons of Jacob, their brethren, to learn the ways of the Lord and his law. And we've been going over the law on Sundays, and that's our doctrine, folks. That is the doctrine. Believe me, this was written down. 36. And Jacob and his sons dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen, and they took possession in it, and they were fruitful and multiplied in it. Folks, that is prophecy fulfilled. That is what was prophesied to Abraham there in chapter 15 in the Old Testament book of Genesis. All right, in 56, we have Jacob's death. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. And the days of Jacob and the years of his life were 147 years. At that time, Jacob was attacked with that illness of which he died. And he sent and called for his son Joseph from Egypt. And Joseph his son came from Egypt, and Joseph came unto his father. 3, and Jacob said unto Joseph and unto his sons, Behold, I die, and the God of your ancestors will visit you and bring you back to the land which the Lord sware to give unto you, and unto your children after you. Now therefore, when I am dead, bury me in the cave which is in Machpelah, in Hebron, in the land of Canaan, near my ancestors. And Jacob made his sons swear to bury him in Machpelah, in Hebron, and his sons swore unto him concerning this thing. 5, and he commanded them, saying, Serve the Lord your God, for he who delivered your fathers will also deliver you from all trouble. Did you hear that, folks? And we're what? We're now the sons of Jacob, aren't we? Spiritually. 6. And Jacob said, Call all your children unto me. And all the children of Jacob's sons came and sat before him. And Jacob blessed them, and he said unto them, The Lord God of your fathers shall grant you 1,000 times as much, and bless you. And may he give you the blessing of your father Abraham. And all the children of Jacob's sons went forth on that day, after he had blessed them. 7. And on the next day Jacob again called for his sons, and they assembled and came to him and sat before him. And Jacob on that day blessed his sons before his death. Each man did he bless according to his blessing. Behold, it is written in the book of the law of the Lord appertaining to Israel. Okay? And that is a prophecy, folks. Man, oh man, is that a hard-hitting prophecy. It's the second from the last chapter in Genesis where he sets up, prophesied. He prophesies about Christ. He prophesies about the Antichrist. And some of those future prophecies over these sons aren't exactly good, okay? No, they're pretty bad, as a matter of fact. One over Dan is not good, all right? The two good prophecies there in Genesis, one to Judah and the other to Joseph. Okay, but on we go here, and that's not here. But you can go right there, second from the last chapter in Genesis, and see that these two things harmonize really good. So, they reign over them, and their sons shall reign over their sons forever. Okay. In 8, and Jacob said unto Judah, I know, my son, that thou art a mighty man for thy brethren. Reign over them, and thy sons shall reign over their sons forever. Only teach thy sons the bow and all the weapons of war, in order that they may fight the battles of their brother, who will rule over his enemies. And Jacob again commanded his sons on that day, saying, Behold, I shall be this day gathered unto my people. Carry me up from Egypt, and bury me in the cave of Machpelah, as I have commanded you. Howbeit, take heed, I pray you, that none of your sons carry me, only yourselves. And this is the manner you shall do unto me, when you carry my body to go with it to the land of Canaan to bury me. Judah, Issachar, Zebulun shall carry my bier at the eastern side, Reuben, Simon, and Gad at the south, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin at the west, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali at the north. Let not Levi carry with you, for he and his sons will carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord with the Israelites in the camp. Neither let Joseph my son carry, for as a king so let his glory be. Howbeit, Ephraim and Manasseh shall be in their stead. Oh, that's prophetic, isn't it? Of course it is. 14, Thus shall you do unto me when you carry me away. Do not neglect anything of all that I command you. And it shall come to pass, when you do this unto me, that the Lord will remember you favorably, and your children after you forever. Okay? And you, my sons, honor each his brother and his relative, and command your children and your children's children after you to serve the Lord God of your ancestors all the days, in order that you may prolong your days in the land, you and your children's children forever, when you do what is good and upright in the sight of the Lord your God, to go in all his ways. And thou, Joseph my son, forgive, I pray thee, the wrongs of thy brethren, and all their misdeeds in the injury that they heaped upon thee, for God intended it for thine and thy children's benefit. Yeah, and it was prophecy. 18, and on my son, leave not thy brethren to the inhabitants of Egypt. And, O my son, leave not thy brethren to the inhabitants of Egypt, neither hurt their feelings. For behold, I consign them to the land of God, into the hand of God, and in thy hand to guard them from the Egyptians. And the sons of Jacob answered their father, saying, O, our father, all that thou hast commanded us, so will we do. May God only be with us. How about that, folks? Yeah, there's a lot of future prophecy in these statements. And, wow, I'll tell you what, you combine this with Genesis at his death, and you'll see what I mean. It is nothing but prophecy here of the future, even the battle that they'll have with Egypt here. And that's a statement there when it says to do what's right in his sight. That's all obeying all the law. "19, and Jacob said unto his sons, So may God be with you when you keep all his ways. Turn not from his ways either to the right or the left, in performing what is good and upright in his sight. For I know that many and grievous troubles will befall you in the latter days in the land. Yea, your children and children's children. Only serve the Lord, and he will save you from all trouble." And see, this goes for us. This goes for us, folks, because in that prophecy, there in the 15th chapter of Genesis, Abraham's going to be the father of many nations here, okay? And we're taught in the New Testament how we're grafted in once we believe, and that all Jews believe in Christ, or they're not real. Now that's a fact. That's what the 77 books teach. Okay, save you from all trouble, and that includes the trouble that we're in today, folks. "And it shall come to pass when you shall go after God to serve him, and will teach your children after you, and your children's children to know the Lord, then will the Lord raise up unto you and your children a servant from amongst your children, and the Lord will deliver you through his hand," he's talking about Moses here, "from all affliction, and bring you out of Egypt, and bring you back to the land of your fathers to inherit it securely." Now, and also the great gathering with Christ is greater than the gathering here with Moses. Okay, so we got that undercurrent to this. Okay. So he's going to deliver them from all affliction and bring you out of Egypt and bring you back to the land of your fathers to inherit it securely. "And Jacob ceased commanding his sons, and he drew his feet into the bed. He died and was gathered to his people. And Joseph fell upon his father, and he cried out and wept over him, and kissed him, and he called out in a bitter voice, and he said, O my father, my father. And his sons' wives and all his household came and fell upon Jacob. And they wept over him and cried in a very loud voice concerning Jacob. And all the sons of Jacob rose up together, and they tore their garments, and they all put sackcloth upon their loins. And they fell upon their faces, and they cast dust upon their heads toward the heavens. And the thing was told unto Ashnath, Joseph's wife, and she rose up and put a sack on a sack, and she with all the Egyptian women and all the Egyptian women with her came and mourned and wept for Jacob. 27 and also all the people of Egypt who knew Jacob came all on that day when they heard this thing, and all wept. All Egypt wept for many days. And also from the land of Canaan did the women come unto Egypt when they heard that Jacob was dead. And they wept over him in Egypt for 70 days. Okay, and remember I explained 70, 72, 77, and 7. 29, and it came to pass after this that Joseph commanded his servants, the doctors, to embalm his father with myrrh, and frankincense, and all manner of incense and perfume. And the doctors embalmed Jacob as Joseph had commanded them. And all the people of Egypt and the elders and all the inhabitants of the land of Goshen wept and mourned over Jacob, and all his sons and the children of his household lamented and mourned over their father Jacob many days. And after the days of his weeping had passed away, at the end of 70 days, Joseph said unto Pharaoh, I will go up and bury my father in the land of Canaan, as he made me swear, and then I will return. 32, and Pharaoh sent Joseph, saying, Go up and bury thy father as he said, and as he made thee swear. And Joseph rose up with all his brethren to go to the land of Canaan to bury their father Jacob as he had commanded them. And Pharaoh commanded that it should be proclaimed throughout Egypt, saying, Whoever goeth not up with Egypt and his brethren to the land of Canaan to bury Jacob shall die. And all Egypt heard of Pharaoh's proclamation. They all rose up together, and all the servants of Pharaoh, and the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt went up with Joseph, and all the officers and nobles of Pharaoh went up as the servants of Joseph, and they went to bury Jacob in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Jacob carried their bier upon which he lay, according to all that their father commanded them. So did his sons unto him. And the bier was of pure gold, and it was inlaid round about with onyx stones and bdellium, and the covering of the bier was gold woven work, joined with threads, and over them were hooks of onyx stones and bdellium. And Joseph placed upon the head of his father Jacob a large golden crown, and he put a golden scepter in his hand. And they surrounded the bier, as was the custom of kings during their lives. And all the troops of Egypt went before him in this array at first all the mighty men of Pharaoh and the mighty men of Joseph, and after them the rest of the inhabitants of Egypt, and they were all girded with swords and equipped with coats of mail, and the trappings of war were upon them. 39. And all the weepers and mourners went at a distance opposite to the bier, going and weeping and lamenting, and the rest of the people went after the bier. And Joseph and his household went together near the bier, barefooted and weeping, and the rest of Joseph's servants went around him. Each man had his ornaments upon him, and they were all armed with the weapons of war. And 50 of Jacob's servants went in front of the bier, and they strewed along the road myrrh and aloes, and all manner of perfume. And all the sons of Jacob that carried the bier walked upon the perfumery, and the servants of Jacob went before them, strewing the perfume along the road. And Joseph went up with a heavy camp, and they did after this manner every day, until they reached the land of Canaan. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which was on the other side of Jordan. And they mourned an exceeding great and heavy mourning in that place. And all the kings of Canaan heard of this thing, and they all went forth, each man from his house, 31 kings of Canaan. And they all came with their men to mourn and weep over Jacob. And all these kings beheld Jacob's bier, and behold, Joseph's crown was upon it. They also put their crowns upon the bier, and encircled it with crowns. And all these kings made in that place a great and heavy mourning with the sons of Jacob, and Egypt over Jacob. For all the kings of Canaan knew the valor of Jacob and his sons. And the report reached Esau, saying, Jacob died in Egypt, and his sons and all Egypt were conveying him to the land of Canaan to bury him. And Esau heard this thing, and he was dwelling in Mount Seir. And he rose up with his sons and all his people, and all his household, a people exceedingly great. They came to mourn and weep over Jacob. And it came to pass, when Esau came, he mourned for his brother Jacob. And all Egypt and all Canaan rose up and mourned a great mourning with Esau over Jacob in that place. And Joseph and his brethren brought their father Jacob from that place, and they went to Hebron to bury Jacob in the cave by his fathers. And they came unto Kiriath Arba to the cave. And as they came, Esau stood with his sons against Joseph. Now get this, folks. And his brethren as a hindrance in the cave, saying, Jacob shall not be buried therein, for it belongeth to us and to our father. And Joseph and his brethren heard the words of Esau's sons, and they were exceedingly wroth. And Joseph approached unto Esau, saying, What is this thing which they have spoken? Surely my father Jacob bought it from thee for great riches after the death of Isaac. Now 25 years ago, and also all the land of Canaan he bought from thee, and from thy sons and thy seed after thee. Now, what did I say earlier in the podcast? That you cannot trust people in the mystery school of Babylon. You just can't. You associate yourself with people in the mystery religions, and they will try to hornswoggle you. They will lie. They do not have a moral compass. Now, get what goes on here. 52, and Jacob bought it for his sons and his seed after him for an inheritance forever. And why speakest thou these things this day? Question mark. And Esau answered, saying, Thou speakest falsely and utterest lies. For I sold not anything belonging to me in all this land, as thou sayest, neither did my brother Jacob buy aught belonging to me in this land. So you'll run into this when people pass away. People that don't know the Lord will all dogfight like a bunch of bulldogs over a pork chop. It's terrible. They'll fight over the will. They'll fight over belongings. Just ain't good. Esau here is a liar, and he's in the mystery school of Babylon. Anyway, 54, and Esau spoke these things in order to deceive Joseph with his words. For Esau knew that Joseph was not present in those days when Esau sold all belonging to him in the land of Canaan to Jacob. And Joseph said unto Esau, Surely my father inserted these things with thee in the record of purchase, and testified the record with witnesses, and behold, it is with us in Egypt. 56, and Esau answered, saying unto him, Bring the record, all that thou wilt find in the record, so will we do. And Joseph called unto Naphtali his brother, and he said, Hastily, quickly, stay not, and run, I pray thee, to Egypt, and bring all the records, the record of the purchase, the sealed record, and the open record, and also all the first records in which all the transactions of the birthright are written. Fetch thou, period. And thou shalt bring them unto us hither, that we may know from them all the words of Esau and his sons which they spoke this day. And Naphtali hearkened to the voice of Joseph, and he hastened and ran to go down to Egypt. And Naphtali was lighter on foot than any of the stags that were upon the wilderness, for he would go upon ears of corn without crushing them. That's light-footed, folks. 60, and when Esau saw that Naphtali had gone to fetch the records, he and his sons increased their resistance against the cave. And Esau and all his people rose up against Joseph and his brethren to battle. How about this? And all the sons of Jacob and the people of Egypt fought with Esau and his men, and the sons of Esau and his people were smitten before the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob slew of Esau's people 40 men. And Cushim, the son of Dan, the son of Jacob, was at that time with Jacob's sons. And he was about 100 cubits distance from the place of battle, for he remained with the children of Jacob's sons by Jacob's byre to guard it. And Chisholm was deaf and dumb. Still he understood the voice of consternation amongst men. And he asked, saying, Why do you not bury the dead? And what is this great consternation? ? And they answered him the words of Esau and his sons. And he ran to Esau in the midst of the battle, and he slew Esau with a sword, and he cut off his head. And it sprang to a distance, and Esau fell amongst the people of the battle. And when Chisholm did this thing, the sons of Jacob prevailed over the sons of Esau, and the sons of Jacob buried their father Jacob by force in the cave. And the sons of Esau beheld it. Now, how about that? For a turncoat and a liar, and one that cannot hold a covenant. He cannot keep his word, and that's what occultists will do. They will not keep their word. Their words just fall out and hit the ground, folks. You can't believe a word they say. The naughty man teaches with his hands and feet, gives his hand signs. And where did that all get started? Was that not in Babylon? Sure it was. Anyway, 66, and Jacob was buried in Hebron in the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the sons of Heth for the possession of a burial place, and he was buried in very costly garments. And no king had such honor paid him as Joseph paid unto his father at his death. For he buried him with great honor, like unto the burial of kings. 68. And Joseph and his brethren made a mourning of 7 days for their father. Period. That's the end of the chapter. And I do mean that. I do mean that you cannot trust the occultist. The world is steeped in those mystery religions today, and so we got to beware of those type of people like Esau. But Esau hasn't changed one bit all the way, and that's what I'm saying about occultists. Sometimes they'll come out of the whore of Babylon, but most of the time they will take their evil right to the grave.